I'm a registered nurse. I'm the president of the Service Employees International Union here in Iowa. I'm also a proud supporter of the Fight for 15 and a union. I also happen to run in the Democratic primary for governor of Iowa. That's why I'm so proud to stand here today with the workers in the Fight for 15 and a union movement. Workers from McDonald's are on strike today, not just here in Cedar Rapids, but in Des Moines, demanding the right to have a union. You see, it's because of big corporations like McDonald's that they've rigged the economy so they benefit at the expense of working people. That's right. They've made it harder and harder for working people to get a fair shot. The real problem is that for too long, corporations like McDonald's have been calling the shots. Folks, our system is broken. They have held down pay while they pocket more of the profits and power for themselves. And while McDonald's rakes in profits $6 billion last year alone, their workers face sexual harassment, workplace violence, and most are paid so little they have to rely on public assistance to get by. That's why we're standing with McDonald's workers in Cedar Rapids today who are on strike. They're striking to have a workplace free of sexual harassment and workplace violence and jobs that pay them enough to take care of themselves and their families. For the past 7 years, cooks and cashiers in the Fight for 15 and a union have made uncompromising demands for union rights so that they can win better wages, be safe at work, that's not asking a lot, and have a true seat at the table. These brave workers aren't just here for themselves, they're fighting for a better life for themselves, their families, and our communities. They're standing up for working people all across this country who are overworked and underpaid by corporations that only care about maximizing shareholder profits. And they do absolutely nothing to invest in those communities. I'm here today to say, workers in the Fight for 15 and a union, your voices are being heard. It's time to raise the standard for working people across this country, no matter where they live or work. Now more than ever, working people must have the opportunity to join in a union, no matter where they work. Because joining together is the only way that workers can get ahead. It's the only way that working people can take back our power, defend our rights, and make our jobs better, and make sure everyone plays by the rules. That's why we're so proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with workers here in Cedar Rapids in the Fight for 15 and a union. They're demanding that McDonald's give them a seat at the table and a voice on the job. And that's why we're also demanding that those who want to serve us in public office step up and do the same. Now I'm honored to turn it over to someone who knows firsthand the struggles we speak about. Please welcome Kelly Osborne. Kelly.
Sorry guys, I'm a little nervous. My name is Kelly Osborne. I am a 44-year-old single mother of two grandchildren, and I raise a 5-year-old grandson by myself. I have been working here for $8.25 here at McDonald's, right here at this store, for 4 months, and been in fast food for over 2 years, making less. I can barely afford enough to pay the bills and put food on my table, and that's the truth. I can't afford a car, so I have to walk to work. I have to walk to the store, to the doctor, to everywhere else. I have to wake my grandson up at 5 a.m. every morning just to get him to the babysitter so I can come to work. I also have a lot of medical issues, which having better health coverage would give me a choice in better doctors. I am a stage 4 non-Hodgkin's cancer survivor. And I have 8 years in remission. Unfortunately, I have faced $180,000 medical bills for 1 chemo. But this proves that I'm a fighter. I'm a strong fighter for 15 in a union. It's because so many families deserve to live better lives. There are many workers struggling, not just in Cedar Rapids and Des Moines. I'm proud today to say that I am on strike, and I'm glad to have a presidential candidate with us, Mr. who stands up to raise the wage. Bernie, 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 Bernie. Okay. McDonald's has been taking advantage of workers for way too long, and other corporations just like it are following the same bad business mottos. Paying workers low wages, getting away with billion-dollar profits from our hard work every day, and it's not right. We need unions and a seat at the table.
That's right.
With unions, we can use our voices to help with our wages, our insurances, anything that happens during the day while we're working in these places. When workers like me speak out and have politicians like the great Bernie Sanders standing behind me, we will call out employers like McDonald's. And we will prove that this struggle is real. And power happens in numbers. So let's get out there and fight and make this a reality.
Thanks so much, Kelly, for sharing your story. And unfortunately, there are many other stories like Kelly's. Now I want to introduce a member of Faculty Forward. I want to welcome Mike Zmolik, an adjunct lecturer at the University of Iowa.
Greetings. I'm here today representing my colleagues at Faculty Forward Iowa at the University of Iowa. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm here representing my colleagues at Faculty Forward Iowa who have been fighting our own struggle for decent pay and working conditions. And we're proud to be here today to stand in solidarity with workers in the Fight for 15 here at McDonald's and around the country who are standing up to say enough is enough. A system in which so many fast food workers cannot get by on their wages without public assistance is a morally bankrupt system. Our universities are heading in the same direction. Today, over 25% of professors across the United States cannot get by on their salaries without public assistance. When I started teaching at Iowa 6 years ago, on my adjunct professor's pay, it meant that I couldn't afford to let go of the job I had at the local restaurant. One day, one of the university's big bosses came in, and I went up to introduce myself, and to shake his hand. He didn't accept my hand. And later, I was told that he said it was shameful that I was still working at a restaurant. And so I said to my colleague, shame on me for trying to make a living wage, or shame on him for not paying me one. 2 years ago, those of us at non-tenured faculty at the University of Iowa started organizing, and last summer we won our first big victory. It was full benefits, healthcare benefits for anyone working more than half-time. But the university responded by smacking some of our members back down to less than half-time so they didn't get benefits. We were also told that because we were working with SEIU and talking about forming union, they couldn't speak to us anymore. So we have an employer who didn't want to speak to us. So this year, one of our members had cancer, and he had to go an entire summer without health care because he didn't have enough sick leave. At the University of Northern Iowa, they have a sick leave bank. We don't have one. So we took that to the Board of Regents, and we protested. And they sat down with us. They actually talked to us. And now we are talking to them about going forward to implement a sick leave bank at Iowa. So what's the lesson? It's clear. When we fight, we win. I want you to remember that because we're going to have a little review at the end. All right.
Looking like a real teacher.
So I'm a history professor. My specialty is British history. So I want to give you a very brief history lesson. And we have to go all the way back to the year 1799 in Britain when they passed the draconian Combination Acts. Combinations are what they called unions in those days, and they banned all unions in Britain. It was a dark time. There was revolution in France. The 1% in Britain were worried the revolution was coming to England, so that's why they passed this law. And there was a period of immense repression that followed, and unions and workers had to go underground to organize. But when the Combination Acts were finally lifted 25 years later, the unions were stronger and better organized than ever. And they didn't stop there. They went on to organize the charter movement, the Chartist movement. They got voting rights for all men, and in 1918, voting rights for all women. That's the year that the Labour Party emerged as a major second party in Britain. So what are we going to do about Chapter 20 and our very own Combination Acts right here in Iowa? We're going to fight. And we're going to win. And we're not going to stop there. We're going to go forward and get Medicare for all. And win a Green New Deal and get good paying jobs for all workers, women, men, black, brown, or white. And while we're at it, we'll be saving the planet because the CEOs are not going to do it for us, are they? No! So it's up to us, people. So, now's our review time. What's the lesson of all this? I'll start. When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! When we fight, we win! Thank you.
Hey, bring the megaphone up to the front.
Bring the mega. They got several megaphones.
I got it. I can yell. I got a good voice. Thanks so much, Mike. Now I'm going to turn it over. Now I want to turn it over to someone who understands why having a union in her workplace matters. Give it up for Barb Stannerson.
Okay, anybody hear me? Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you. So I'm a proud member of the SEIU Local 199, the union of nearly 4,000 registered nurses and healthcare professionals at the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. I've been there 5 years working as a physical therapist, and up until a couple of years ago, I'd never joined a union, really didn't know anything about it. And then I was elected to serve on the union's negotiating committee to represent my co-workers' interests before the Board of Regents, and my eyes were open wide. I found that hospital administrators, even at an academic medical center, too often put the bottom line over the needs of the patients and the well-being of the frontline care providers. I've seen the difference it makes when we stick together. And I've realized that the fight for higher pay, affordable benefits, and basic rights at work isn't just about me. And it isn't just about the lab scientist who goes to work sick out of fear of being written up, or the nurse who wants to do more for their patients but can't because their unit is short-staffed. It's about our patients, it's about the community, and it's about neighbors who want to have more of a say about how we're paid, our health care coverage, our work environment, and other things that matter for our families. That's why we're continuing our fight for quality care and good jobs at the University of Iowa Hospital and Clinics. And that's why I'm here today. I'm proud to stand with the McDonald's workers, fight in the fight for 15 and a union. Together, we're demanding unions for all because we know the best way to raise the standard of living for all people, no matter where we work or where we live, is to make it easier for working people to join together in a union. As a physical therapist, it's my job to get people moving and get them stronger, similar to what we're doing here today. Now, more than ever, working people need to join a union because it's the best way for workers to move up and do better. I'm born and raised in Iowa, and I don't know about you, but you hear the Iowa nice all the time. I think it's time to change that to Iowa fight, and that's very important. Once everybody has a respectable job with the right to join a union, higher wages, health care, food, and even a roof over their heads, then maybe we can afford to be Iowa nice. Let's do this!
Okay, Barb, rocking it. So our next speaker probably doesn't need much of an introduction. Wonder who that is. He's been a fierce. All right. He's been a fierce and outspoken leader for the fight for 15 in a union. As a United States Senator, he has a history of pushing for real and substantial change that challenges corporate power. Without further ado, please welcome Vermont Senator and Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders.
Well, thank you. It is an honor to be here with the courageous workers at McDonald's who are standing up and fighting for justice, fighting for a $15 an hour minimum wage, and fighting for a union. And I wanna congratulate all people who are involved in the fight for 15. And I want you to understand the enormous progress that you have made in the last few years. 5 years ago, when we talked about $15 an hour and a union, people said it was an impossible dream. But because of the determination of workers at McDonald's and all over this country and the trade union movement, 7 states in this country have passed a $15 an hour minimum wage law. And I hope and believe that in the next month, the United States House of Representatives will pass a $15 an hour minimum wage. Together, we have stood with the workers at Amazon. They have raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Together, we have stood with the workers at Disney. They have raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour. Right now, we are working with workers in Walmart all over this country, demanding that Walmart raise their minimum wage to $15 an hour. And today, we say as loudly and clearly as we can to McDonald's, pay your workers a living wage, $15 an hour, and negotiate with a union. The fight at McDonald's is the fight for millions of working class people who are sick and tired of working longer hours for lower wages. They are sick and tired of not being able to afford rent, or health care or child care for their children. All that they want is what every American is entitled to: decent wages, decent benefits, and a union to help negotiate that contract. So I thank the workers here at McDonald's. You are courageous. The American people are behind you. We are tired of corporate greed. We're tired of corporations providing millions in compensation to their employers, but ignoring the needs of their employees. So let us continue to go forward together, fight for a union, and fight for 15. Thank you all very much.